So today I'm going to show you all how the basic redstone blocks. Today I'm going to be going over all of these, and let's get straight into it. First, we're going to be going over redstone dust. To do this, we'll also be using redstone torches and repeaters. So I'll get over with all of those. So dust, pretty much the base wire. If you stick a powered redstone block, it will power it. And that's pretty much what redstone dust is. Redstone signals have 15 stages. Right now this is signal strength 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can tell because this is lit, but if I place another, now the signals are done. So it won't trigger this. Now repeaters can have two purposes. They can take power out of a block. Well, repeaters have two things they can do. They can interact with powered blocks. So let's say I were to have something like this. It would take the signal from the torch, push it into this block, and then I could have like a block here, and that's being powered by this torch. And let's say I also, and now and with redstone repeaters, you can also set a delay from 1 tick, 2 ticks, 3 ticks, to 4 ticks. And these pretty much change how fast it sends out. Like, see, notice how it takes a bit, like, I place it down and it waits a bit before turning on the other side here. And I can reduce that. One pretty useful tip for using redstone repeaters is you can easily make a clock like this, and you set these to like 2, 2, 2, 2, and now it'll go around in a circle, and this is a redstone clock, so you can hook up like a circuit to this, and it will keep on going. Now about this redstone torch. Here you can see me just using it for power, but there are a few other things you can do with it. For example, if you place it on the side of a block, then give that block power, it will turn off. You can use this to do stuff like make clocks. However, these do have a burnout, so if I do something like that, you can see that it does burn out the torch, and I have to give it a block update before it'll try to like place or break a block next to it, or a few other things to get it to start working again. You can still make a clock with this by doing something like this. Wait, sorry. Something like, well, you can make a clock. You can make a clock of it by building an L shape. And click, click. Place, place, place. Now this is a fast redstone clock, and it's quite noisy as you can see. It's honestly quite a satisfying sound, but it will keep on going unlike that one we had earlier. And then you can modify the delay using repeaters in this. Torches also power the block above them. So if I were to do something like this, then I could extract power from this block like this. And this torch is powering it. So if you were to do something like this, that would deactivate it, and this repeater keeps everything powered. Alright, so So that's pretty much all about these. Now, I'm gonna keep them in my inventory. Next is a comparator. To use them, I'm gonna take this trap chest because that's the easiest way to show off what it does. So the comparator can read out block data, which basically means, let's say I put in 2 stacks of items here. Well, then it'll emit a redstone signal of 2. Make it 3 stacks. Still 2. But if I add a few more, you'll see now it's at 3. And this can keep going all the way up to the max, which is 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then here it stops. Here's a tip. If you don't know how much a signal strength is, you can use F3. Look at it. And if you look on the far right side, right above the, like, about the middle of the screen, you can see power. This is power 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, blah, blah, blah. And that's one way you can do that. So, let's just clean all this up. This can be used for quite a few things, like if you have items in a chest, you can measure that. Personally, I think it's quite useful. I just get rid of that. So, so the trap chest also has a unique property where pretty much upon opening, well, it's hard to see from here. Let me just, when you open the trap chest, it emits a redstone signal. This is easier to show at this copper bulb. I'll discuss that later. You can see that it turned on. Yeah. So, next on our list are the dispensers and droppers. To demonstrate what they do, I'm going to grab some arrows. Let's grab like a stack or so. So, here are the differences between the two. Sorry, just make it day. So pretty much what they both do, 2 different things. So there's a dispenser and a dropper. Now I'll put a stack of arrows in each of them. Now the unique thing is the dropper just spits out the item. However, the dispenser can shoot out items like arrows or snowballs or fire charges. And yeah, this works for a lot of things. You can also use it to summon a wither, if that's your piece of cake. By putting skulls in here and soul sand down here, it will place that. Dropper just kind of ejects the item. Useful in certain cases, not useful in others. Yeah. And both of these, well, the dropper can dispense into a hopper, which is useful in a lot of cases. Like, let's say you want to make a loop of your items or something. You could do something like this. This is a bad one, but you could also just do like this. Now there's the arrows, right? You place this in. You saw for a split second there's an arrow there. And so, now for the comparator. So the comparator also has a few other uses. some of them more advanced, so I'll cover that in another video. But one of the other ways to use them is, let's say I'll take out a block. I'll take out a lever. Levers pretty much just generate a redstone signal when flicked. Same signal strength as a redstone torch, but toggleable. Stone buttons, buttons in general, they have different durations, but pretty much when you click them, they'll produce a redstone signal for some time, then depress. I'm going to use a lever here to demonstrate this. So, there's a lever here, right? This comparator, it's really not doing much. If you right click it so that this little torch here is on, and then you flick the lever, it starts flashing, and this will not burn out. It's a very quick, easy to make clock. Can go, well, it's a little too fast to be modified and delayed. So that's the only thing bad about it. So, and that's all I have to say about the comparator and stuff. So, put this stuff back. Now let's go over the pistons. I'll also take out some slime and some honey for this, since it will be very useful. So there are two types of pistons, the piston and the sticky piston. Place them all a block up. So, they both have two unique properties. Now, the piston will push a block forward, and upon deactivating will leave the block there. However, the sticky piston will push the block and then pull it back, unless you give it a signal that's too quick, using an observer or putting a lever on the side of this will instantly depress it, causing the block to form there. That's called a one tick. Useful in a lot of cases. You can do this with observers as well, but more on that later. Now, for a lot of times, you might want to use something like slime to stick blocks to other blocks. That way you can move multiple at once. Like, let's say I have all these blocks and I want to move them. Just place a lever on here, and boom, it'll push and pull them all at once thanks to this slime. Something useful if you're making a big build with tons of these next to each other. Slime and honey both work. However, slime will stick to other slime, but if you put a honey here, honey will not stick to slime. Very useful in certain cases. Now I'm going to demonstrate some simple uses of this when I go over the observer, which, let's do that right now. So, the observer can detect when something changes in front of it. I place down a honey block, it'll give me a redstone signal. Let me just, See, you saw that blink? It can detect when anything changes. This is a simple observer clock, but it's not the best. It can detect whenever a block changes in front of it, if water seeps onto it, all that stuff. If it's like, let's see if it can, wait, I forget exactly, can it detect the chest being opened? Let's see. No, it cannot detect a chest being opened. But it's very useful, and let me show you a very interesting use on how you can use this. So, if you have a block here, and a block here, you can place an observer, sticky piston, built it a little too far, sorry. And you can build a flying machine using a sticky piston here and a regular piston here. So the piston pushes it forwards, and then the sticky piston pulls the rest of this back. So after placing these two in, you can trigger it by doing that, and now as you can see, observers also trigger when moved, which is what makes this work. And I can sort of just walk with it. this will carry blocks with it. So let's say I place like a sandstone on it, that sandstone is now going to keep on moving till infinity. There are certain immovable blocks like bedrock or obsidian that will not be pushed or pulled with pistons. As you can see, it just won't work no matter how hard I flick it. You can make a player trap with this using like just 2 high walls and piston on the top. Let me just break out of there. And then observers are also good for making clocks. You can do something like this. This will make an observer clock. Triggers pretty quickly, but it's slow enough that upon placing a repeater on here, it will toggle it on and off. So you can change the duration, how long the signal pulse lasts. I'm going to use that here. Yeah, it's quite annoying to build these, but they're pretty good. You can insta-break these, so in a lot of cases, you might want to build this thing 1 block up and place an ancient debris. And now any player that goes inside of here, let me demonstrate in survival, no matter how hard they try, cannot break out. I mean, they can use an ender pearl, but you can just make this thicker. Because this will push them down, and it will push the players into a crouch, which pretty much resets their block breaking progress. There in the distance, you can see our little buddy flying. So, that's pretty much about it for the observer. Skulk sensor. These can only be obtained by going to the deep dark. They detect when a sound happens nearby. If you jump, they can hear that. You walk around, they can hear that. However, using wool, if you walk or jump around, well, if you walk on wool, they can hear you here, right? But they can't hear me when I'm on wool. There is a variant of this called the calibrated skulk sensor. And that has like a bunch of other stuff. It's a bit more advanced, so I'll go over that in another video as well. Next on our list is the note block. It's a very simple block. It can play a redstone. It can play a sound. It's not always like this. It can change. I'm pretty sure there are quite a few. I'm pretty sure if you put a gold block under it, it'll make a different sound as well. And so you can change the pitch by right-clicking, and then when you go on to give it a redstone signal, it'll always give the same signal as what you said. As you can see here. Anyway, you can, yeah. So, next up is the copper bulb. This is a relatively new addition in 1.21. Previously, you used to have to use sticky pistons to do that one tick thing I talked about. To toggle on a redstone signal, you had to do something using like a redstone block and this. So here are my 2 designs. As you can see, one of these is clearly more expensive than the other. You had to toggle this, and it would push this there, break it, it would toggle. And now we have the copper bulb, which takes in a redstone signal and will toggle on and off. And this comparator can read that. So if, let's say I go this, it'll toggle on and off the redstone signal. They're very useful for compact redstone builds and a few other advanced stuff. Next on our list is the target. When hit with any projectile, I'll demonstrate with an arrow, it will release a redstone signal coming out of here. And you can use a comparator to judge how accurate you were. Just a redstone dust, it'll always say the same amount. But this can judge how accurate you are. I hit it straight on the bullseye, but let's say I hit like the edge of the block, I don't get much points for that. I hit the second line, I get 2 points. Third line, I get 5. Yeah, it goes on for a bit. That's what the target is used for. Also, if you use blocks that don't have a full hitbox, well, sorry, misplaced. You like slime? I'm pretty sure works for this. No. If you use glass, I know glass works for this. You can use glass to build a staircase. See, it goes up through there since glass isn't a full block. Certain blocks like glass cannot be powered. They will never enter a powered state. Like, normally with other blocks, you could do this, and then this would work, but it doesn't work with glass and a few other blocks. You can build a redstone staircase. Doing this with normal blocks won't connect properly, but here you can see that it just goes up the staircase. Very useful when going up. So, back to what we were talking about. What was next? Was it... So let's go down here now. So, pressure plates, unique, very unique. So, stone, lightweighted, heavyweighted. Those are like the 3 main types. Yeah. So, stone, throw an item on it, will not register. Gold, throw an item on it, it will register. Iron, throw an item on it, it will register. Put a player on it, it will register. Put a player on it, it will register. Put a player on it, it will register. Yep. Just let him die. Okay. So, and there are a few other uses, but I'll cover that in another episode for advanced stuff. And here are the last 2 blocks that I'm gonna do, that I'm gonna show you some cool stuff you can do with this that are like immediately useful. So, redstone lamp, iron door, those are the last 2 I have left. What they do is, the redstone lamp is similar to the copper bulb, except will only stay on when it has a redstone signal. Iron door and iron trapdoor cannot be opened by right-clicking like other doors. You have to place down some redstone to open it. And now I'm going to show you a few simple things you can make that I personally believe are very useful. So let's start out with a simple item sorter. I know, it's so hard to make. So now I'm going to teach you. So you're going to go down here, so redstone repeater, go here, shift, 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 comparator. You want to place these in. So you have something looking like this. Right now this hopper is locked, so you can place it pointing in like this. So now this will be where all the filtered items go. So in here, you want to put 41 exactly. Sorry, 44. It's 11 in each slot of any item. It can be any item. It doesn't really matter. And then you want one of the item that you want to sort. So let's say I want to sort these out. So let's make a, like, I don't know, chain like this with an input and an output. Stuff like this. You can do something similar with the copper golem, but that hasn't officially come out yet, I do believe. So I might go over that next time. So if I put in a torch, this is a trap chest, so it'll stop the hopper. And now you let go. It will go in there. Where did it go? Yeah, it's down here. It all happens quite quickly. And if I put in an item that's not supposed to go in, like an arrow, that continues on. So I could put in, like, I guess I could put in a stack of arrows and a stack of torches, and those would all get sorted. Just take a bit for all of them to be removed. Start out by doing all the arrows. Just speed that up a bit. And then I would start working on the torches. Those would all go down here. Yeah, so that's how this simple item sorter will work. Yeah, there are a lot of use cases for this. Okay, and a few other things. First of all, I will go over Rails in another video probably, but I will go over this. If you place down a button, you can send yourself and a lot of other mobs flying. This is a pretty cool thing I like doing. And you can do this with all mobs, minecarts, all that good stuff. Minecarts cannot be on a rail if you're doing this. And you can bounce them up and use like a clever combination of bounces and delays to like send the player flying, which I quite enjoy doing, in case you're wondering. I just placed down a slime block there. And now let's apply some of our redstone knowledge, right? The staircase. Staircase will take it all the way up there. But we do want a delay. So I'll go up one more. Go around here. Come back around. So, actually we don't need this. So, just line this up with redstone dust. You may need to do some fine tuning for different piston heights. This does send you up a certain amount. It's not like an infinite distance. But if you set it up correctly, it will launch you. This probably will need some fine tuning. As you can see, it. Yes, and since and I need to wrap this around, right? That's connected. So that was a little too late. So we'll do something like that. And you can hold shift on slime, and it will stop the bounce. You saw I got knocked back quite far. I think I can do better, though. Let's see. Look at how far I got launched back. And this works with any entity. Um, I would not recommend doing it this way, but you can for sure do it. This is kind of dangerous, but it's risky. I'll tell you that. But it might not even work. It might just end up blowing up this machine. Quickly press this. Yep, and the machine's done. Yeah, so you do need to do some fine tuning for different blocks and stuff. But all in all, you can see how our torches have almost finished. There's this one that appears to be a little stuck. But it won't be stuck if you place a hopper underneath it. It should just yoink it. Well no, with this torch being here. No. Yeah. So I believe that is all for this video. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.